Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Township of North Country's public planning meeting at February 28th. We have 5 committee of adjustment applications scheduled for this evening's meetings. Members of the public are able to attend the township office in person to speak on any application or register with the clerk's division in advance to attend electronically. Members of the public who have registered to attend electronically have been provided with a Zoom link to join the meeting this evening and have indicated to staff which application they would like to participate in. Staff will move those individuals who have registered into the meeting to speak in the order of the applicants being heard, and those who are present in person will be able to speak to the application when it is reached on the agenda and will be asked to approach the podium to speak. Please note that all speakers are provided with no more than 5 minutes to address the application. The clerk will time each speaker and advise the chair when the 5-minute time limit is up. Members of the public have been provided with the following methods to watch and participate in this open meeting electronically. First, you can attend the township office located at 2958 Greenfield Road, Dumfriesville. Second, watch the live stream by accessing meeting on the township's YouTube page. 3, attend electronically to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. And 4, submit written comments to the clerk's division that have been provided to the mayor and council prior to the meeting and will form part of the public record. I'd now like to call this meeting to order and ask for the approval of the agenda, please.
Moved by myself, and by Councilor Will, that Council adopt February 28, 2023 public meeting agenda as presented with the following addendum. Add 2 pieces of additional correspondence received for item 7.5, P report number 08-2023, consent application for 10675 Road, file number B-0123.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to do Indigenous territory acknowledgement. We acknowledge that land in which you settle today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, and it's not even neutral. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. And now I'd like to pause to reflect as we reflect on what's happened in the past, to the children in residential schools, to the missing women, and also as we walk with the Indigenous people today, we walk together for a hopeful and more positive future. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, there's no minutes. Motion to adjourn to sit as committee of the adjustment. Councilor Kelly.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Williams, that the council meeting be adjourned at 7:03 p.m. to sit as committee of adjustment for purposes of holding public meetings pursuant to the provisions of the Planning Act.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. At pass. Cynthia, you'll let me know when you're ready.
Yep, ready.
Thank you. First up is PD 04-2023, a minor variance application for 114 Hall Street, A-0722. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Secretary Treasurer will record everyone who has commented on this application, attended, and or have registered with the clerk division to attend the meeting this evening. These individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings. I'd like to now introduce Christina Blazanovic, planner, GIS technician, who will be presenting this application. Christina, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Councilors. The following presentation is for minor variance application A-07/22, located at 114 Hall Street. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to advance a recommendation for the committee's consideration on the merits of this application. The property is located on Hall Street between Wilson Street and James Street. The property has a lot frontage of 20 meters onto Hall Street and is just under 1,300 square meters in size. The subject property consists of a 2-story single detached dwelling and a shed. The principal dwelling is listed on the Municipal Heritage Registry. This dwelling's heritage features include a cross gable roof, a front veranda with wood columns, and a front bay window. Surrounding land uses are primarily residential and institutional. The subject property is zoned for urban residential and is designated urban residential and ancillary in the township official plan. The owner is proposing to construct a 2-story detached garage with unfinished loft space on the 2nd story. This garage will be approximately 7.62 meters by 9.14 meters, or 25 by 30 feet, with a total area of 69.67 square meters or 750 square feet in size. The proposed building height will be 5.49 meters or 18 feet in height, and the 2nd story will be unfinished loft space mainly used for storage. There is an existing shed on the proposed location of the detached garage that will be removed. The property owner is requesting the following variances from the zoning bylaw. The first requested variance is to permit a maximum floor area of 69.97 square meters, 750 square feet for all accessory buildings, whereas section 6.4.6 permits a maximum floor area of 60 square meters, 645 square feet for all accessory buildings. The second requested variance is to permit a maximum building height of 5.49 meters, 18 feet, for the proposed accessory building, whereas section 6.4.7 permits a maximum height of 5.2 meters or 17. The photo on the left is the view of the principal dwelling from Hall Street. The proposed detached garage will be located to the right of this dwelling. The photo on the right is a 3D rendering of the proposed detached garage. As you can see in this photo, there is slight can grade towards the rear of the garage. There have been no comments or concerns from any members of the public. There are no objections from the DRCA, Region of Waterloo, Engineering and Public Works, Building, Waterloo, School Board, or Enbridge. As with the listed heritage property, the proposed application was presented to the Heritage Advisory Committee on September 29, 2022. The committee was satisfied that the proposed construction of this detached garage would not impact the cultural heritage features of the principal dwelling, as the garage will be constructed with similar materials as the principal dwelling, and it will be situated at the rear of the principal dwelling. Planning staff are of the opinion that the requested variances meet the 4 tests of the minor variances outlined by the Planning Act. First test being that the variance conforms with the general intent of the zoning bylaw. In this case, the proposed building is a permitted use in the Z4 classification. The second test being that the variance conforms with the general intent of the official plan. The proposed accessory building is compatible with surrounding land uses and will not have an impact on the adjacent properties. The third test being if the proposed variance is desirable. The existing shed will be removed to construct the proposed detached garage, which will provide covered or indoor parking and additional storage space for the homeowners. And lastly, if the variance is minor in nature, an increase of approximately 9.67 meters or 100 square feet is minor, as the property is of a sufficient size to accommodate the proposed garage size. An increase in height of approximately 0.3 meters or 1 foot is minor in nature when accounting for the average finished grade of the property. And the proposed garage will be replacing an existing shed in the same approximate location. Based on the finding analysis, staff recommend that minor variance application A-07/22 for 114 Hall Street be approved with conditions which include the following: that the proposed accessory detached structure is to be constructed a minimum of 1.2 meters from each property line, and that this proposed accessory detached structure is constructed a minimum of 5 meters from the rear property. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Mike and Angie, would you like to speak? Welcome. Angie, did you want to speak? Good evening, Angie.
Sorry,
Did
so what
wanna
you
speak?
said, I'm having a hard time hearing.
Do you want to try to turn your volume up? Can you hear me now?
It's very faint.
We can hear you, so if you'd like to speak and say anything about this, go right ahead.
I don't think there's anything, there's nothing you want to say, is there, Mike?
I don't think so. I'm not, no, not really, no. I don't think so.
No, and sorry, I was having a really hard time hearing, so I don't know if there's anything I need to address.
No, not yet. We haven't opened it for discussion. You're the first one to speak on it.
Sorry, can you say that again? Sorry.
What do we do if you don't hear?
I could repeat it. Can you hear me, Angie?
I heard that a little better.
Yeah, I'm the mic. That's why I'm across the room from the mayor, so I can repeat what she says.
Just ask if they have.
Yeah.
You're saying that no one else is spoken yet.
No one else has spoken. Do you have anything else to say in relation to the presentation in your application?
Nope. No, other than
Okay,
there was
thank
some question this morning about the shed, but that will be moved because we don't have. I don't know, Mike, can you explain a bit? But
No, just that the shed will be removed.
yeah, the shed will be removed. We have to move it to build the shed, but we have to have somewhere to store our stuff in the meantime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody in the public wish to speak on this application? Seeing none, would any councilors have any questions, comments? Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Moved by Ms. Olson, by Councilor Tillery, that PD report number 04/2023 minor variance application for 114 Hall Street be received. And that minor variance application AO 722 being a request to seek relief from the general zoning bylaw 689-83 to permit an accessory building garage with unfinished loft with a maximum floor area of 69.72 square meters or 750 square feet. Whereas section 646 of the general zoning bylaw permits a maximum floor area of 60 meters or 645 square feet. B, an accessory building garage with unfinished lot with a maximum building height of 5.49 meters or 18 feet, whereas section 647 of the general zoning bylaw permits a maximum building height of 5.2 meters or 17 feet. Be approved subject to the following conditions. One, that the proposed accessory detached structure is constructed a minimum of 1.2 meters from the east property line, and two, that the proposed accessory detached structure is to be constructed a minimum of 5 meters from the rear property line.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Would you like to know what was carried?
That was carried, Angie.
I'm not sure what we should do with that. Okay, everybody's up. I don't think that would be on the next one's ready. I mean, see there.
So the person who registered online is not here, but I'm thinking the parents are here.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're ready to go?
Yes.
Thank you. Next up is 7.2, which is PD 05/2023, a minor variance application for 1277 Cameron Road, A-08/22. Notice has been given to those who have requested it. The Secretary Treasurer will record everyone who has commented on this application, attended and/or have registered with the Clerk's Division to attend the meeting this evening. Those individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings. I'd like to once again introduce Christina Gazanova, planner, GIS technician, who will be presenting the application. Christina, please.
The following presentation is for minor variance application 8-08/22, located at 1277 Cameron Road. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to advance a recommendation for the committee's consideration on the merits of this application. The property is located on Cameron Road, south of the intersection of Newfoundland Road and Cameron Road. The property has a lot frontage of 36.5 meters onto Cameron Road and is approximately 2,000 square meters in size. Subject property consists of a two-story single detached dwelling and a pool house. Surrounding land uses are primarily agricultural. The subject property is zoned Z1 agriculture and is designated rural area within protected countryside in the township official plan. The owner is proposing to construct a two-story detached garage with recreational space on the second story. This building is labeled as number 1 in the photo. This accessory building will be 13.83 meters by 8.53 meters, or approximately 45 feet by 28 feet, with a total area of 117.97 square meters, or 1,269 square feet in size. And the proposed height will be 5.05 meters, or 16 feet and 7 inches in height. The second story will be used as recreational living space, which will include a games room and storage room. There is an existing pool house located on the subject property that also requires a variance. This building is labeled as number 2 on the photo. The existing pool house structure is 3.65 meters by 5.48 meters, or 12 by 18 feet. And the total area is 20 meters squared, or 216 feet, with a total height of 3.65 meters per 12. The photo to the right is a floor plan of the second story of the proposed detached garage. The proposed building will include storage and game rooms, as well as a small kitchenette that will not contain cooking facilities. The property owner is requesting the following variances from the general zoning bylaw. The first is to permit an accessory building, which is a garage with recreational space within a required side yard, whereas section 6.4.1 does not permit an accessory building within a required side yard. Second variance is to permit the existing pool house within a required side yard, whereas section 6.4.1 does not permit an accessory building within a required side yard. The third variance is to permit a habitable room for recreational purposes above an accessory building, whereas section 6.4.4 does not permit a dwelling unit or habitable room to be established above an accessory building. The fourth variance is to permit an accessory building, which the garage is recreational space, with a side yard setback of 1.52 meters or 5 feet, whereas section 7.2.3b requires a minimum side yard setback of 3 meters or 10 feet. And the last variance is to permit the existing pool house to have a side yard setback of 1.52 meters, 5 feet, whereas section 7.2.3b requires the minimum side yard setback of 3 meters. The photo in the top left is the proposed area of the two-story accessory building, and the photo located in the bottom left is the building elevation of the proposed detached garage, the recreational space on the second story. The photo to the right is the existing pool house structure. There have been no comments or concerns from any members of the public. There were no objections from the GRCA, Region of Waterloo, Engineering and Public Works, Waterloo Catholic District School Board, or Enbridge. The building department, however, did note that there is no record of a permit for the pool or the pool house. A permit will be required for each of these. A lock rating plan would also be required at the time of the building permit submission, and septic review will be required at the time of building permit for the additional fixtures and connection. It is also noted that the proposed accessory building may not contain cooking facilities or be used as a coach house, as there are separate zoning regulations pertaining to coach houses. Planning staff are of the opinion that the requested variance is the 4 tests for the minor variance as outlined by the planning act. The first test being that the proposed variance conforms with the general intent of the zoning bylaw. In this case, the proposed buildings are permitted uses in the Z1 classification. And the subject property represents the typical rural residential property. The required side yard setback of accessory buildings in rural residential property zones is 1 meter or 3 feet. The second test being that the proposed variance conforms with the general intent of the official plan. The proposed accessory buildings are compatible with surrounding land uses and will not have an impact on adjacent properties. The third test being that the proposed variance is desirable. The property owner requires additional garage space and recreational space. And the fourth test being that the variance is minor in nature. In this case, we have a rural residential property located within an agricultural zone. The purpose of a larger side yard setback in agricultural zone is to ensure that farm buildings are set back at an appropriate distance from adjacent properties and use so as to not create an impact. The proposed accessory buildings are not intended to be used for farming purposes, therefore a decrease in the required side yard setback of 1.5 meters is minor, as the proposed buildings will not create an impact on the adjacent premises. Based on the planning analysis, staff recommend that minor variance application A-08/22 for 1277 Cameron Road be approved with conditions which include the following. That the proposed accessory building, the garage with recreational space, shall be set back from the north or side property line by a minimum distance of 1.52 meters or 5 feet. That the proposed accessory building, which is the garage with recreational space, shall be set back from the east rear property line by a minimum distance of 1.52 meters or 5 feet. That the proposed accessory building, garage with recreational space on the second story shall not be used as a coach house. That the existing pool house shall be set back from the south side property line by a minimum distance of 1.52 meters, 5 feet. And that the existing pool house shall be set back from the rear property line by a minimum distance of 1.37 meters or 4 feet.
Thank you, Christina. Is there anybody of the public that wishes to speak on this issue? I will leave you, the parents, go ahead, reach out to the microphone, please. Thank you.
We are Diane and Ted Perrin, and I own the property right across the street from the house, and my husband farms all the land around. And we would like to speak to the fact that there's already been a variance on this property, half-acre lot. If you were to go and look at this half-acre lot, it is chock-a-block full now, and now you're proposing another building. And it's going to affect our agricultural crops, and I have no idea how he's going to get any material in to this property to build this. He already built stone walls around the front of the building, and all those stones sat on Cameron Road for almost 3 weeks, and on the edge of the road, up and down, not only on his property, down the way as well. And there was no side area at all to pass. I was driving a tractor with a wagon behind me going to pick up hay, and an oncoming car was coming at me, and I had nowhere to go. And I was afraid he was going to hit me, because he was determined he was going through. Where are all the construction materials going to go? Where are all the construction trucks going to go? He's already parked on my land that I maintain all the grass right to the side of the road, and that we cut that grass routinely twice a week. And he's already, and various other things he's done on this property, this park never asked permission to do anything. He just test the vehicles and leave for us in our grass. And my husband looking to the agriculture.
Well, I have a problem with this 5 foot being built that close to the property line. There's no way this thing's going to shade the field, the height of it. I already lose 3 rows of corn from his trees planted on the other side of the fence. I don't think there's any respect for anybody but himself. This is a half-acre lot. And there's room to build a house in it, but why do we need a garage of this description on a private home house? This is just a little unconscious what we need. There's no place to turn around up there now. And where are we going from here? Like, I can't see how we do this. We should be at least 10 feet from the property line, not 5. And we don't need to be this high. Because you're just shading the farmland all the way around that lot.
And he already has a 2-car garage. Now, and you know, you can, his cars are parked inside all the time now. And if visitors come, they park on the road, and then we can't see, Hammer's a very hilly road, and you cannot see trying to get out of my driveway. If there's traffic coming out, the cars.
I don't know, I just don't see the point of putting a garage like this on a, supposed to be a house for a family of 4 people. Why do we need a garage like this? This is a residential house. I know the guy has a business in town, but since when we moved the business from town out to the house. And I still think he's planning on making this into a house. He's got other ideas, not using this as a garage.
He does not have a good track record for asking permission for anything. The pool shed, a balcony, he built a balcony on the house after he bought the house. He built that pool shed. He never got any permission for that.
Did he have a permit? Did he have a permit for the balcony on the house?
I'm not sure of any of that, but, Christina, looked into it and, has said that the pool shed has to meet requirements as well as the garage. If there is problem with them taking their equipment and having it along the roadway or blocking or onto your property, please let staff know and we'll deal with it.
Well, I phoned here when we found those rocks, those landscape rocks were all on the road. And after that car almost hit me and nobody got back to me. Nobody did anything about it. Nobody got back to me.
Then please contact one of your ward council, which is the meetings, I and myself, and we'll make sure you get contact.
No, I just can't understand why we're allowing this great big garage on this property.
Well, there's certain requirements and things under the planning act that you're allowed to do, and this is
Well-
one of them.
5 feet from the property line is not in my books of any description where we ought to be putting a house. This is not right. We're out in the country. When I put something on, I'm told I gotta be so many feet away, not 5 feet from the road. Give me a break. 5 feet is nothing. You can't even run a lawnmower on 5 feet between the line fence and the building.
I'm 5 feet.
So there you go. Like, this is not acceptable. At any point, this is a great big building that is not gonna be used for a garage. Like, see through the line
That's
somewhere.
another thing, if you see it being misused, please contact us.
Yeah.
We have bylaws that cover that.
We've heard these stories for years. I've been in the township as long as I've been state.
Yeah.
I
But
just-
no,
I
do
just-
do contact, if you feel like you're not getting in there, contact Alita. I'm sure she'll be right on top of it. She's a firefighter. And we'll make sure that things are dealt with.
Well, I don't think we ought to be going ahead with this building whatsoever. We were never notified about this until we get there. Well, we put a little sign in front of the place in Snowbank, or we wouldn't know anything. And this is not what we call planning.
Okay, well, thank you for the comments that have been recorded and put into the record. So thank you so much. And please, if you have problems, please inform us. And is there anyone else that would like to speak on this issue? Seeing none, Councilor, any comments? Councilor Austin.
Just one quick question on it. Is there any possibility that it can be moved further away from the lot line than 5 feet? Can we not bring it in to maybe 8 or 10 feet? Maybe that would help with the problem with the crops or being too close to the property line.
Staff.
So, Madam Mayor, through to Councillor Oster, the committee, sitting as the committee, can modify it and can establish a setback. That is not what necessarily was asked by the proponent. Standard setback for this classification is 3 meters. The owner is seeking relief to roughly half of that to a 1.5. And if the committee believes that an appropriate setback is required, you can do a couple things. You can modify and pick a measurement between 1.5 and 3 meters, or you can grant the variance, but not allow the reduced setback from the 3 meter threshold.
Councilors, your thoughts? I think that's a pretty good idea. 3 meters is about 10 feet. So I've got Councilor, we almost did that to Austin and Coleman.
But just so I understand, Neely, that would be item D of the motion that we're looking at today. Yes, please. We're just talking about that is it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it would be item D in the recommendation portion. Because it's a 2-story structure. And so if the committee, in their wisdom, does not believe that a variance is appropriate, 1.5 meters, as I said, you can pick a measurement between 1.5 and 3, If you wish the 3 meter or something greater, then you would just not grant the relief, and it would default back to the setbacks applicable to the Z1 classification.
It's not just D. If you look at the approved subdivision for it's item 2 as well. Would, so you'd see, the
Yes.
approved item 2 as well would be eliminated. Councilors, what are your thoughts of this change? Councilor Lawson, you were next.
Is it possible to maybe request from the owners, from the applicants that to investigate the possibility of bringing it in maybe 2.25 or 2.5 meters, so it's at least far enough away from the property line rather than the 1.52 meters?
So if we went back to the standard, which is 3 meters, that's 10 feet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm just wondering if
a
it
compromise between the
doesn't
two.
work, yeah, if it doesn't work, obviously they'd come because 10 feet or 3 meters doesn't work for them. So I'm just wondering if we can just maybe creep back a little bit, maybe to 2.5 meters or 2.25, that'll give us 8 to 9 feet, 8 feet maybe.
Christine, can you
7,
put
8
the picture back up, please? Of where it was gonna go, because there was a vehicle parked there as well, beside where you had the map on it. I think it was the one that was in actual, because there was a vehicle parked. That's it, Ken. You know, moving on another 5 feet to me doesn't seem to be a problem, which would make it 10 feet. What do you think, Councilor Lawson?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if there's some reason, there's obviously some reason to requesting it be set back. But if we can bring it back as close to the 10 feet as possible, I mean, we can always, if the committee decides, we can always say, well, we're gonna go with the 3 meter, 10 feet, and then see what their engineer or whatever says, well, I can only get to 8 feet. I mean, it's better than 5. I
Yeah,
mean,
have to.
you know, trying to keep.
So we're saying at this point, we'll go with the standard, which is the 10 feet and 3 meters, and should we come back, we have an opportunity to come back.
I'm good with that.
So,
Madam Mayor, I tend to agree with council's thinking here. I think 3 meters is a good idea. I look at page 13 of the report, section 6. One of the variances minor in nature from the provisions of the bylaw, it said that there are no immediate neighbors, and I'm just questioning planning thinking here because Karen's raised a good point about crops being adjacent to this. So when our planners looking at this, are they looking at the impact of the crop land around the property where this going straight away? Is there a house next door? Because the neighbor that's a farm is as valid a neighbor as a farm as a housekeeping. So I'm just curious what the planning process is.
staff,
Sorry, so Mayor Constantine, Councilor Bowman, within my analysis of that property, I had attended the site and I noticed that the agricultural land right beside it slopes quite significantly away from the property. So I did interpret that to be as significant of an impact having this accessory building there.
thank you, Christine. Good luck, you on, you did your job. The council still wants to go ahead, Councilor.
Follow up, I know that when we have in the past, we've had buildings built, you ask for things like shade, study, and shadow studies, that sort of thing. Would that be appropriate in this instance?
I think for this time, I'd like to get direction that we're going, in my opinion. Okay, so that council can still choose otherwise, that we go with the regulation, 10 feet, 3 meters, and, the individual can come back. So, any comment?
So Madam Mayor, if the committee grants the variances minus the 3 meter request down to 1.5, and that is the decision, then the owner has 2 avenues. One, they can appeal the committee's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal, or alternatively, they can build to the requirements of the bylaw within the context of whatever variances council grants. If they find, and they try and massage the building around, that doesn't fit, and they wish to go to, I think, 2.5 meters, it would actually be another minor variance application. Because this matter will have been dealt with by the committee, and they would have to pursue a second application if they wish to seek further relief at a later date.
And that's what's sad with not having the others too, is because we could probably have dealt with this very clearly tonight. Councilwoman.
The other question I had was regarding the stormwater management. That picture that we just saw a minute ago showed a lot of hardscaping in the back of that property. So I was wondering, with this new building, what is the water management plan for this? How are you going to direct all the stormwater away from the parents' land into the ditch system in front of the property?
So, Madam Mayor, through Councilor Rowland, we actually have more control of the building permit stage than someone putting down a concrete pad that existing today. So we can, as part of the process, deal with grading and grading profile around the building. We can also provide direction in terms of the discharge. That doesn't exist when they just put a concrete pad down.
Councilor Tilly.
My response is also to the parents' concern would also be that I think there needs to be a plan mentioned on how they're going to deal with the materials. So there will be significant materials required to build this, and taking up public space, road space is not an option that's offered to anyone else other than perhaps contractors who are working for roads and bridges. So I would like to hear what their plan would be when they come back as well, to make sure that they're not interfering with the community outside of what their plans are.
The more fair thing to do is to defer this and ask that the individuals come to the meeting to get clarification from the owners. Councilors, how do you feel? See your thing, go ahead.
So, Madam Mayor, yes, the committee could defer a decision, and this would then occur at the meeting on the 28th of March.
Councilors prefer deferral, or would you prefer to put the side limits in the 10 feet? Councilor Austin and Council Wells and then Councilor Williams.
I don't see a reason personally to defer it. I'd like to see the 10-foot measurement put into place. And I would like to see bylaw keep an eye on the property when building is being done. I mean, I've seen many instances, even in town here, where building materials were actually piled on the road. And for example, on Piper Street, there was construction done, there was a pile of gravel on the road for a good part of most of the day. Whether they should have done it or could have done it, that's something bylaw should have probably looked at, but regardless, sometimes trucks have to be parked, but they have to be parked responsibly. They can't be blocking so much of the road that, tractors and vehicles have to veer out into a large portion of the other lane to pass by. So, and it has to be minimal amount of time, not from 8 in the morning till 5 at night.
Councilor Williams.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to agree with Councilor Oster on this. I think we can go ahead and make a decision today.
Councilor Williams, that's what you're going to see as well. Just don't remember that bylaw is by complaint based, so that gravel on the road, if nobody complained, they can't do anything. So I think it's complaint based. Councilor Tilly.
Agreement with that we could postpone the deferment, but I'd like to add that I would like to hear a plan when they do come back, what their plan is. Engineering and everybody they need a plan to do it anyways. So what is their plan on how to deal with materials? That's really what it comes down to. And when they don't follow the plan, then we have something to go after and then help encourage to keep the community happy.
Okay, so I'm going to call for the motion, and I'm sorry, I wasn't going to make you read it in its entirety, but because of the two changes, you will have to, please.
All right, and just to clarify, what about the approved, so there's number 0.1 Is that still going to, or is that variance still going to remain at 1.52, or also recommending on the side property to not have that variance?
0.1 on the approved.
Correct.
And the north side property line, by minimum distance of.
Are we
That's
going for one
not
and
it.
two?
I think the north side is where the front of the house is, correct?
No, the front of the house faces west.
Okay,
The north side is towards New Dundee Road.
That's where they want to build the garage on the
That's where he
north
wants-
side of the.
He wants to put it
I
on the
believe, yeah,
northeast
I
side.
believe it's both 1 and 2, then we would strike it.
okay,
Yeah,
yes, please. And what about
I would be striking D,
just D?
you said, because the pool house, that's different.
Do you want me to print off another?
Yes, please.
So we're gonna take off this as D and then 1 and 2.
If I may bring up one question, I want to know where the septic bed is on this place.
Beg your pardon?
The septic system is located in the front corner. So we did look into it and that
In
was
front
one
of
of
the
my
front.
comments. Yeah.
Bank, all right.
Anybody else want to speak on this while we're? No? Okay, just remember to make sure you sign in, so if it ever comes back, you know.
Just, again, just clarifying back to Christina. There was no permit pulled for the pool building or the pool originally, and that was something that we're dealing with now because there was no permit originally pulled.
That's correct.
The reason why I'm mentioning that is there's importance in respecting each other, the township itself, and also their neighbors by doing things properly in accordance to bylaw and rules. So I think it is more important to note that this is just because you build something before you get caught doesn't mean that you should do it, and that there's consequences sometimes.
I remember somebody that built something and got caught and they wanted to tear it down. That it wouldn't have happened without.
I know less, and we're still wondering about the balcony and whatever he put on the back of the house if he had a permit.
Their staff will look after that,
Okay,
as they already.
that's all we're worried about now, okay? So thanks for your opportunity.
You're putting everybody to work tonight.
Let me see, somebody has.
Yeah, and then I'll do that. Section. Oh, no. Section. That's large rectangular space, second story, building height. Is second story building height.
existing pool house. The rear yard setback. 2 meters. That's 7.
How long have you guys been married now? 11 years. Yeah. Has to be perfect. It's everything happens.
Grass sections 2, 7. So it's 2, 1. Requires. 5 units. There were 2, the other 3 become. Up the whole.
Can I have the motion, please?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rowland. That PD report number 05-2023 minor variation application for 1277 Cameron Road be received. And that minor variance application A-08/22 being a request to seek relief from general zoning bylaw 689-83 to permit A, an accessory building garage with a recreational space on the second story within a required side yard, whereas section 6.4.1 of the general zoning bylaw does not permit an accessory building within a required side yard. B, an accessory building pool house within a required side yard, whereas section 6.4.1 of the general zoning bylaw does not permit an accessory building within a required side yard. C, a habitable rooms for recreational purposes above an accessory building, whereas section 6.4.4 of the general zoning bylaw does not permit a habitable room above an accessory building. D, an accessory building, garage with recreational space on the second story, with a side yard setback of 3 meters or 10 feet, whereas section 7.2.3b of the general zoning bylaw requires a minimum side yard setback of 3 meters or 10 feet.
Excuse me, shouldn't that read what they requested in the second part of the sentence state that bylaw states. B, with a side yard setback of 3 meters 10 feet, which is not what's.
Meters.
Like, this is, the top half is what we're requesting, the bottom half is. Okay, go ahead.
A, two, F is what you are approving, and then you're placing conditions of and beyond.
Okay, go ahead.
E, an accessory building garage with recreational space on the second story, and the existing pool house with a rear yard setback of 3 meters, whereas section 274 requires a minimum rear setback of 7.5 meters. F, an existing accessory building pool house with a side yard setback of 1.52 meters or 5 feet, whereas section 7.2.3b of the general zoning bylaw requires a minimum side yard setback of 3 meters or 10 feet and 1.52 meters to 5 feet for a rear yard setback, whereas section 724 requires a minimum 7.5 meters or 25 feet.
So that should be yard, not year.
For your, yeah, rear yard setback. Thank you. Be approved. Subject to the following. 1, the proposed accessory building garage with recreational space on the second story shall not be used as a coach house. 2, the proposed accessory building pool house shall be set back from the south side property line by a minimum distance of 1.52 meters or 5 feet. And 3, the proposed accessory building pool house shall be set back from the east rear property line by a minimum distance of 1.37 meters or 4 feet.
Are you satisfied that it's correctly read? You have to call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Terry, thank you. And thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you.
Cynthia, you'll let me know when the indulgence. Thank you.
Okay,
7.3 PD 06/2023 minor variance application for 14 Gore Estate, A 0922. Notice has been given to those in accordance with the Planning Act. The Secretary Treasurer will record everyone who has commented on this application, attended, and or have registered with the Clerk Division to attend the meeting this evening. These individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings. And I now like to introduce Christina Blazanovic, planner, GIS technician, who will be presenting this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentation is for minor variance application A-09/22 located at 14 Gore Estate Court. The purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal, solicit comments, and identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff. The property is located at the southern limits of Gore Estate Court on the east side of the cul-de-sac. The property has a lot frontage of approximately 9 meters onto Gore Estate Court and is approximately 600 square meters in size. The subject property consists of a single detached bungalow. Surrounding land uses are primarily residential, and this property is zoned set for urban residential and is designated urban residential and ancillary in township. The owner is proposing to construct an uncovered deck in the rear yard of the subject property. The proposed deck will be attached to the principal dwelling, and the uncovered deck will be 4.88 meters by 3.66 meters, or 16 by 12 feet, plus 1.2 meters by 1.2 meters for the landing and stairs. The total area of this proposed deck will be 19.3 meters squared, or 207 square feet. The property owner is requesting the following variance from the general zoning bylaw. The requested variance is to permit a deck to include 3.73 meters into the required rear yard setback, whereas section 6.41 does not permit a deck to intrude any further than 3 meters into the car exterior setback. The photo on the top left is a view of the subject property from Course State Court, and the photo to the right is the rear yard of the subject property, and the proposed location of the covered deck is highlighted in red. Upon a site visit by planning staff, it was noted that there is a concrete pad that has been recently constructed. There have been no comments or concerns received from any members of the public. There are no objections from the GRCA, Region of Waterloo Building Department or Waterloo Catholic District School Board. The Engineering and Public Works Department has concerns regarding the deck's foundation and interfere with the mechanism of the infiltration gallery. The Engineering and Public Works Department will require a revised drawing to ensure that there's no conflict. Further review by the Engineering and Public Works Department will also be required to ensure that the newly constructed concrete pad does not further create conflict with the infiltration gallery. Staff recommends that all comments and correspondence received from members of the public and government agencies through the consultation process be returned to staff for a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter. Staff will be considering matters including all comments and correspondence received, whether the development meets the criteria of the 4 tests of a minor variance, and the location of this deck as it appears to interfere with the existing infiltration gallery.
Thank you, Christine. And Melina, did you want to speak on this? And Mia? Can you ask them? I don't know if they can hear me.
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Anybody in the audience wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, questions from council? Councilwoman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I recall that when we were developing this subdivision, there was a pretty intricate system of stormwater management. So I did notice in the comments, staff are concerned about how this affects the infiltration galleries. I'm just wondering what safeguards do we have in the subdivision to prevent future incidents like this? It seems that everyone's going to want to try to build a deck back there or something, and it's pretty intricate. So I'm wondering what staff had in mind in terms of how we're going to mitigate the future sort of development over the infiltration gallery. So,
CEO McNeely, do you want to deal with that?
So our normal setbacks for a deck would respect where those infiltration galleries were created and established. You are correct. The infiltration galleries do form part of the integral overall stormwater management for the subdivision itself, and then at a lot level. The roof leaders go underground and are piped underground into the infiltration galleries that are generally situated along the rear lot lines of the majority of the residential lots in the subdivision. Hence why the comments from the engineering division.
Thank you. So no further comments. Can I have a motion, please?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Osmer, that the PD report number 06-2023 minor variance application for 14 Gore State Court file number A-09-22 be received, and that all comments and correspondence received to the public meeting and associated consultation process to be referred to staff for consideration in a future report to council on the disposition of this matter.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Seven point four, PD report number 07-2023, consent application for 2302 Dumfries Road, file number B0422, B0522, and B0622. Notice has been given to those in accordance with the Planning Act. The Secretary Treasurer will record everyone who has commented on this application, attended, and or have registered with the Clerk Division to attend the meeting seat. Those individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings. I'd now once again like to introduce Christina Lazarone, planner, GIS technician, who will be sending the application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Following presentation is for from applications B 4/22, B 5/22, and B 6/22, located at 2302 Dumfries Road. The purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal, to solicit comments, and identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff. The property is located on Dumfries Road between Roseville Road and Ripe Road. This property has a lot frontage of approximately 135 meters onto Dumfries Road and is approximately 9,200 square meters in size. The subject property consists of an 8-unit industrial building as well as a newly constructed industrial building. Surrounding land uses are primarily industrial. The subject property is zoned Z9 industrial and designated as employment area in the township of Richmond. Consent application B 4/22 proposes to create one new industrial building lot. The proposed severed lot is highlighted in green on the photo. The proposed severance would result in a lot frontage of approximately 54.70 meters or 179 feet onto Dumfries Road and a corresponding lot area of 0.93 acres or 3,790 square meters. The proposed separate lot consists of a newly constructed industrial building that will be municipally addressed as 2312 Dumfries Road. The newly constructed industrial building received site plan approval in April of 2022. The newly constructed building is approximately 1,293 square meters or 13,920 square feet in size. The second consent application, file B 05/22, proposes to establish an easement over the retained lands that would permit access to the severed lands. This easement is highlighted in blue. And the third consent application, filed number B 06/22, proposes to establish an easement over the severed lands that would permit the drainage of the retained lands to the stormwater management facility and its associated outlet, which is located on those severed lands. This easement is highlighted in gray. The photo on the top left is a view of a newly constructed industrial building that is proposed to be severed. The yellow dashed line is the approximate severance line. The area in between the two buildings is proposed to provide access to both of the properties. The photo on the bottom right provides a view of the existing 8-unit industrial building as well from Dumfries Road. There have been no comments or concerns received from any members of the public at this time. There are no objections from the GRCA, Engineering and Public Works, Waterloo Catholic District School Board, CP Rail, Canada Post, or Enbridge. The building department will require an agreement to be registered on title to allow the fire department access to the water supply reservoir located on the severed portion of the property for the buildings located on the severed and retained parcels. The site plan amendment will also be required to acknowledge the separate parcels, and each agreement must be registered on their respective properties. The Region of Waterloo will require the owner or applicant to provide a mutual access agreement prior to final approval. Staff recommends that all comments and correspondence received from members of the public and government agencies through the consultation process be returned to staff for a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter. Staff will be considering the following: all comments and correspondence received, whether this development conforms to the official plan and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw, that the proposed application is desirable for the property and compatible with surrounding land uses, and the appropriate mechanisms to ensure responsive site development, including parking, access, grading and drainage, and site services.
Thank you, Christine. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak on this? I believe we have Adam Bender and also Steve Jefferson. Any comments, gentlemen?
Not for me. Thank you all for your time.
Hello, Mayor Foxton.
I
My name is Steve Jefferson, planner with K-Smart Associates Limited in Kitchener. The applicant, Phil Sheetal, was unable to attend the meeting this evening, so he asked me to be here on his behalf. Staff will know K-Smart Engineering were involved with the previous site plan process for this project. That site plan was approved and the building is under construction. K-Smart Planning has provided support to Mr. Sheetal during the pre-consultation and consent application stage for these files. We have reviewed the staff report and have no concerns. I do support the staff recommendations and will be available to answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, any questions from council? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please?
Myself by Councilor Wilms, that P report number 07-2023, consent applications for 2302 Dumfries Road, file numbers B-0422, B-0522, and B-0622 be received, and all comments and correspondence received through the public meeting and associated constitution process be returned to staff for consideration of future report to council on this issue of this matter.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is 7.5, PD report 08-2023, consent application for 1067 Clyde Road, file number B-01/23, file number A-02/22. Notice has been given to those who have requested it. Secretary Treasurer will report everyone who has commented on this application, attended and/or have registered with the clerk's division to attend the meeting this evening. These individuals will be notified of this decision or the convening of future meetings. I'd once again like to introduce Christina Lazanovia, planning GIS technician, who will be presenting this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The final presentation for tonight is consent application B-01/23, located at 1067 Clyde Road. The purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal, to solicit comments, and identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff. The property is located on Clyde Road, west of the intersection of Clyde Road and Shelter Road. The property has a lot frontage of approximately 70 meters on Clyde Road and is approximately 11,328 square meters or 2.8 acres in size. The subject property consists of a single detached bungalow and a shed. Surrounding land uses are primarily residential and agriculture. The subject property is zoned said to rural residential and is located in the designated factory settlement area in the township of Richmond. The purpose of the consent application is to relocate the underground portion of an existing easement to facilitate the construction of a detached garage shed structure and a swimming pool in the rear yard of the subject properties. A portion of the easement is an overhead line and the remaining portion through the rear yard is an underground line. The existing easement was established in 1984 for the purpose of providing hydro services. This existing easement shown in orange on the photo provides hydro to the neighboring resident of 1119 Clyde Road. An consent application is required to relocate this existing easement. The proposed detached garage and pool shed will be 9.14 meters by 12.19 meters and 30 by 40 feet in size, with a total area of approximately 111 square meters per 1,200 square feet. This existing easement is in favor of Grand Ridge, the township, and the neighboring owner at 1119 Clyde Road. To release this existing easement, an instrument called transfer, relief, and abandonment will be required to be registered on title to the property by a lawyer to delete this existing easement. Consent of all parties who have acquired an interest in the easement must be included in writing. A condition to the original approval of the proposed application will include the establishment of the new easement prior to the release of the existing easement. Planning staff have also located a record of a second well on the subject property. Further review will be required by planning staff just to confirm that the second well will not be located within the proposed easement. The photo on the top left is a view of the rear yard from the driveway. The overhead hydro pole can be seen on the right of the photo. The highlighted area in red is the approximate proposed location of the detached accessory garage. The photo on the right shows the proposed location of the detached accessory garage and the existing easement path in yellow. As you can see, the detached garage is supposed to be constructed in the existing path. The light blue line in the photo is the approximate path of the proposed relocated easement. One piece of correspondence has been received from the adjacent resident located at 1119 Pride Road. Finding staff have been consulting with this neighbor. This resident is not opposed to the overall intent of the proposed application. The resident mentioned a few requests that they would like to ensure. The first being that they are able to maintain the same level of service, which they stated is 200 amp service with copper wire. Planning staff will have to consult further with Grandbridge to confirm that this is possible. The second request being that the resident requests the outage required to relocate this easement is kept to 24 hours or less. This item or request can be coordinated between the resident, the applicant, and the Grandbridge to accommodate their individual schedules when that time comes. And the last one is that the resident would like to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to ensure that a survey will be completed and that the instruments are registered on title by a lawyer. Planning staff can confirm that these items will form part of the required conditions to provisional approval of this application. There have been no comments or concerns, other comments or concerns received from members of the public. There are no objections from the Waterloo Catholic District School Board and the Engineering and Public Works Department. The building department will require some further review of the proposed application to ensure there is acceptable clearance of the proposed building to the overhead hydro pole. The region of Waterloo will require the consent application fee of $350 and a valid section 59 notice prior to the final approval of this application. And some of the comments included from Grandbridge include that a legal survey will be required showing that the easement will have a width of 4.5 meters or 15 feet. That the applicant will be responsible for the cost of relocating the easement, and that applicant is to install a sports pit on the property for 1119 Pride Road and make this connection. The new secondary cable must meet current ESA standards and inspected by a Grandbridge and Brown inspector. Staff recommends that all comments and correspondence received from members of the public and government agencies through the consultation process be returned to staff for a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter. Staff will be considering the matters including the comments and correspondence received. Further follow-up regarding the second well location, just to ensure the location is not within the proposed easement. Further consultation with Grandbridge, the property owner, and the base landowner at 1119 Clyde Road. To confirm the logistics of relocating this easement, and further consultation with the property owner to ensure the proposed easement is the minimum width of 4.5 meters to 15 feet as required by Grandbridge. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Brad Galloway,
Yes.
would you like to speak to?
Sure. So I just read on what's provided here. Sorry, I'm the owner of this other property, guys. The addendum to agenda. Some requests by Grandbridge. I just want to be clear. So originally, as per Grandbridge dated November of last year, the easement had to be 3 meters wide. Now they're saying 15. So I submitted the drawing of the survey under 3 meters wide. So the only change I need to submit as per the request right now, taking 15 feet easement from any other structure.
Staff.
A little unclear. Next steps.
So the comments that were received most recently from Grandbridge stated that 4.5 meters, so we would require that on as part of the updated drawing.
So that would, so the existing garage structure, these has to be at least 4.5 meters away from it, right? Or is it in the center? Because that's per the original from Grandbridge. You need to be 3 meters with the easement being, or sorry, the hydro line being in the middle, one meter on either side. So basically the structure needs to be 7.5 feet now.
So the whole width would be 15 feet, so half of
And the line in the middle.
Yes.
Okay, so is that the only change then?
As per their comments so far, yes, it appears to be the main one requirement to be changed.
Okay, and what's the next step? Should I get that done and then amended on the survey? It's just the survey you want, right?
Correct.
What's the next time it's going to be under review?
So as soon as you're able to submit that, we can review.
And then get back with an answer prior to another way to talk to them?
I'm sorry, but
Like I just don't, it's just because I've been doing this since late summer, early fall of last year. It's been multiple back and forth with Grandbridge with different requests. It's changed once again as per my most recent drawings. My pool's now gone up, it's exponentially cost, so I couldn't get it done. That's, once I amend this and get this to commit to the 15 feet we're asking for, and I submit that to you, what's next steps? Do we gotta wait for another council meeting 1 month from now, or how does it?
So yeah, the next available meeting when we can bring a recommendation for it, that's when we would, but we would also have to provide that updated draft to Grandbridge. They would have to approve that.
So that's the only other outstanding items right now, concerns?
Sir, can you repeat that?
That's the only other outstanding items right now, it's just a matter of going from 3 meters to 15 feet.
So from Grandbridge should come as yes, and then planning staff just want to ensure that that well location is not going to be within that easement.
So there's currently no well there, I believe you're on site, correct?
Yes, but I wasn't looking for.
Like there's no, so I called a well company, because they said they're showing the well. And there's no well cut there, so he said it's not a pipe well, it'd be something that was dug years ago and filled in. And then as per the drawings provided from the well company, there was no well. I provided that to my survey guy, and that showed that well on my neighbor's property, so there is no well in the well.
Okay, so yeah, the planning staff will look into that further after this meeting to confirm.
So what, do you need anything from me to confirm that there's no well there?
I will double check what.
Because what I did is I provided the revised drawing showing that well located on my neighboring property as per the well document you provided.
Yes, the planning staff will review that and ensure that that's okay.
Okay, so other than the 15 feet, that's the next step.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you, Brad.
thanks.
Thank you, Brad. Chris Sprackman, we have Chris.
Yes,
Go ahead, Chris.
I don't have any comments other than what was already provided to Christina through the process ahead of time.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Roy, you're up.
Sorry, I had my microphone on mute. No, I don't have any comments either.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Councilors, any questions or comments? Council Rowan.
Madam Mayor, looking at this, and maybe staff can assist me with this, this whole situation. Aren't residents normally fed directly from the hydro lines on the street? But looking at the feed, doesn't it come off of the road through Mr. Galway's property and then has to go around to the neighbors? Why wouldn't Grandbridge just have a separate service directly to the neighboring house? Why are we doing this big loop through his property?
Christina, please, are you aware of why?
I couldn't speak as to why Greenwich may have to confirm that.
For some reason, in 1984, when lots were created, that's how Graham, at that time, entered Cambridge and North Dumfries Hydro required it. And for some reason, they required us as a municipality to have be party to that easement as well. We've never been able to get an explanation as to why back in 1984, this service was established that way and why the municipality was named as a party to the easement. We have no jurisdictional control.
Yeah, comment as well.
Sure, go ahead.
With Grandbridge on site, on numerous occasions, they had recommended I loop it underground, as the path of least resistance. They're not willing to bring it in service from the road. They said the path of least resistance to me as a property owner at my expense is to do the route I'm currently doing. And I just have to ensure minimal outage to my neighbor, which I've been told what they do is they roughen the trench, drop the line. They'll only have power outage for 2 to 3 hours max. I was told 2 hours, because that's the last thing they do is terminate and tie in. And this is the path of least resistance to get in his service, ensuring that he'll get his 200 amps that he's currently getting service. So I'm willing and invited to do all these.
Thank you, Matt. Go ahead, Councilor Tilly.
As an electrician, I can answer that. As CAO McNeely said, this is something that they did. Unfortunately, it's up to the existing owner now to deal with.
Unfortunate for me.
Yeah, it's something that they have to deal with now. And unfortunately, it means, like Brad just said, is the path of least resistance for him to put it on his own property, make this huge loop of material underneath the property, which is going to be maybe possibly another annoyance in the future. But this is what he's doing so he can do what he wants with his property. This is something that they did a long time ago. And as an electrician, I've dealt with numerous things like this in my past. You fight it and it would just end up being a stumbled out thing. So it is. And from, I guess, the point where I just also mentioned, everything is coming isn't from North Dumfries, it's from Grand Bridge, and we're just gonna do our best to help you along with the situation. Unfortunately, if somebody else throws something at us, then obviously we just gotta deal with it, but hope that it goes with it. Well. Yeah. And great neighbors, it looks like everybody's in support of it, so that's perfect.
Thank you, Councilor Tony. So, no other questions or comments? Can I have the information, please? Have a motion, please?
Move on myself, second by Councilor Jelly, that PD report number 08-2023 consent application for 1067 Road file B 0123 be received. That all comments and correspondence received during the public meeting associated consultation process be returned to staff for consideration in a future report to council on the disposition of this matter.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you, good luck. I'm sure Christine will do everything she can to make the topic go a little easier.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn from committee of adjustment, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Tilly, that pursuant to the Planning Act, the public meeting of the Committee of Adjustment be adjourned at 8:25 PM and the council meeting be called back to.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Can I have the confirm? I have the confirmatory bylaw, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rowland, that bylaw number 3393-23, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on February 28, 2023, be read first, second, and third time, and be finally passed, signed, and sealed by the mayor and clerk.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. And the adjournment, please.
By myself, seconded by Councilor Otzner, that whereas business before this public planning meeting has been completed at 8:26 PM, and be it resolved that this meeting adjourns and council meets again on March 6th, 2023 at 6 PM for council training orientation meeting.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you.